Hey everyone, Pastor Tim here just for, it's been a while since we had a pastor's chat, but I'm jumping on here, and right now we have Melanie with us.
Hello!
She is our communications director. I don't know, have we had you on here before?
No.
So welcome.
Well, I've been back there.
Well, that's right. Many times she's recording and laughing behind the scenes and things like that. But we're really excited to be on here today. What we're doing, we just want to be reminded that God's mission for our church, that it hasn't stopped. We have a lot of great things that are coming up for our church. And we also want to talk about ways that we can be reaching our community. If you were here with us this past Sunday, I talked about that we want to connect with our community and just different ways we can bring the gospel to our area. So what's going on? Some examples. We got Easter coming up.
Yes.
That's super exciting, right?
Yes.
We always build up to Easter as a church, and it's an amazing opportunity to be inviting people. I always think about that this is the time that people are considering going to church. I heard this term, and I'll share it because I thought more people know it, but a creaster.
Yes,
it's
a creaster.
Someone that goes to Christmas
and Easter.
But that's an opportunity. So the community will be in our building. We also have the 5K coming up in Betty Lou's. And if you don't know what Betty Lou's is, that is our...
it's the food pantry that we and a couple other churches support in this area.
Yeah, and great ways to connect with people that are broken and in need, that also, again, need the gospel. And we have VBS that's approaching as well. And we know many kids come to our area, many that do not know Jesus, and they get to hear the gospel that week. So just a lot of opportunities coming up.
So beginning this spring and summer with a new sermon series, we're going to be doing something every Sunday where you're going to have this special kind of gift/tool for everyone to grow in their walk with Jesus. But more on that on Easter Sunday. We're going to reveal what that is.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So we're also on here talking about connecting with our community. There's something new that's out there right now.
Yes, it is definitely finally out there.
Yes, it's been a lot of work behind the scenes. I've been so excited as I've kind of got to preview it as it's been getting there, and now it's a finished product.
Yeah, mostly. And
still a product that we'll keep working on, but what am I talking about? I'm talking about our new website.
Yes.
So I have Melanie on here because she is the expert.
I'm the expert.
Another person behind the scenes has been Lori, so she wanted to be here, but today Melanie's going to represent so I'm just going to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Let's go for it.
All right. So first of all, why a new site? Why now?
So with online and web, when websites originally came out, everybody thought of them as places of information. But over time, as we have social media now, and so social habits have changed and technology has evolved, websites have really seen this shift from being only about informing people to having this personal component. So in the past, the whole idea was I have a website and I try to tell you more about me and my organization, and I hope that I somehow attract you to what I'm doing. But now we're seeing this change where websites are more personally speaking to people, with this idea of meeting them, engaging with them, and inviting them to connect in some way with whatever the organization whose the website is about is doing.
One thing I commented when I was jumping on the site is I said that it was really easy to just keep going through the site because it felt kind of interacting.
Yeah, like a conversation.
Yeah, I liked it. Well, what do we want people to know about our new site?
I think the biggest thing is just our site is an extension of us, of Calvary. And so, we spent a lot of time really thinking through, what do we as a church do best? And what do we want to be known for? And what are our core values? And how does that all infuse into this website, which is, also going to be this representative of us to the community and even to ourselves. And so I wrote down a couple different places where I feel you can see this really clearly. So, for instance, in the content, you'll see that a lot of the web pages on Sunday, on the website, talk about Sunday because that's our highest core value. Yeah. And in fact, when we sat down and thought about the website, when you design websites, really, you need to take a step back and think, okay, what do I really want to encourage whoever is on this site to do? What is my end goal? And for us, we were you know what we think is that we really want to take somebody from just being on the website to coming to our church and starting, a relationship with us.
Yeah.
And so that was like a priority for us. So a lot of the content reflects that. But also, thinking of our second core value and really the personality of our church, we really thought about, a lot of people in our church, like this is family.
Yeah.
And this is people that you grow alongside with in your walk with Jesus and people who you connect with. And so we
spiritual growth and community.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so there was also a lot of content about, different ways that you can grow and different ways that you can connect with people here. And lastly, like thinking about the last core value, evangelism, the site itself really is a tool to aid our people in evangelism. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But those were a couple of the different ways. And even inside all of that content, and we touched on this earlier, there's this style of being relational. Like we really wanted it to sound like a conversation, to sound like you were talking to a person, because we believe that one of the biggest things about our church is that, our people here are friendly and fun to be around. And so we don't want that to be something that people only experience when they come in the building. We want that to start with when they find us online.
Yeah, and that the online experience would be consistent with what they experience when they come to the building.
Exactly. And that's like ultimately when you design a website, what you want.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds very strategic, which is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and very focused.
Yes.
That's neat. Okay, so how is this new site, how's it different and why?
Okay, so taking a step back and thinking about the ecosystem that the website lives inside of. So like our website meets new people in our community every single hour. And so again, when we sat down and we thought about...
It's cool to think about.
Yes. We thought about, okay, what is it ultimately that we want our website to be, or what is its ultimate job? We realized that we really were thinking about it almost like it was a member on staff. Like it had its own job to do. We even wrote like a job description for it and like thought about it that way because cool. Because like our thought was, if we thought about it that way, then when we were designing the site, it would come across as more relational. And so like, for instance, like the job description had things like, I wrote down here, like we wanted it to build relationships. So rather than, like we talked about before,
just information.
Yeah, the old way information. This is, the new job was all about meeting people, engaging with people, and inviting people. And again, like I said before, the biggest goal being turning online visitors to in-person attendees and participants.
Yeah, and where they'll hear the gospel.
Yes. And that's like the goal.
Right? Yes, absolutely. That's awesome. Okay, so what do you mean by meet, invite, and engage?
Okay, so meeting really has to do with about making a personal connection and giving a glimpse with like who we are as a church. Just like if you met somebody in person, you'd like give them a handshake, you say your name, you might be like maybe say your job and stuff. And where you'll see this a lot in the website is with the photos and the language and also the stories, which we only have one right now, but we want to add more. It's one of the about Sue and Jerry Newswanger.
Yeah. Well, get on there and check it out.
Yes, exactly.
It's pretty much, you can't miss it. It's on the homepage.
No, it's on the homepage, yeah. And then when we talk about inviting, that's when we're really talking about like our language has to do with being really welcoming, kind of breaking down barriers of things that might make people not want to come to a church or like have questions about our church. And also...
This is kind of where you threw me, right? The invite piece?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And also like just to have a tone that is like really inviting and like brings people in and ultimately like draws them into our church. And then when we talk about engaging, that really was like we put in the site different places where you can kind of have like, you can interact with it in a way. So like think about it as like a two-way conversation. So like there are videos. So yeah, like the video, we have a video of you like introducing yourself and talking about our church. But we also have places where people can plan their visit. So like that was a big one.
Yeah.
So this idea that like you can tell us, hey, like I want to come to your church on this day, so that our welcome team and everything that flows out from that can be ready to receive them.
And quick story, the site just launched this past week, right?
Yeah.
Melanie already tested me and had someone that she knew that planned to visit. So, but somebody already within this week has planned to visit and is planning on attending at Easter.
Yeah. It's really exciting.
Just sharing that. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing a lot about just the people visiting us, a lot about our community and new people. How does it relate to us and as members, as congregants?
Yeah. So the CalvaryBFC.org is a site for our people in two major ways. So one of them is a tool. So it's a tool that you can use to invite your friends and family to visit us at a church, because, you know, sometimes, like, if you want to invite someone to church, you may not have all the answers about everything that's going to go on. So, like, for instance, like, maybe your kids are a little bit older or you don't have kids. And so, like, you want to invite your neighbor who has kids to church, but they, like, are asking you all these questions about what happens in the security process or, like, where do I drop off my kid? And, like, you maybe don't know the answers, and so maybe, like, that's a little uncomfortable. But the good news is that our site does. And so, like, you can feel confident that when you point somebody to the site for more information, and not just information, but they'll be met with, like, engaging content that really meets them and tries to invite them to come to our church.
Right.
And then another big one is it's a place to discover next steps. So specifically, the web pages, like, at the top, there's the, oh no.
Pause for ambulance.
Okay.
Oh, we're back in.
We're back in. Okay, so at the top, there's, you know, these web pages. They're called Grow, Families, and Events. And that's where you're going to find a lot of visual information and different key steps that you can be taking to, you know, understand, like, how can I, like, what Bible studies can I join, and what connect groups are there, and what service opportunities are there, and, like, if I have a family, like, what are things we can go to and, like, participate all together. And, like, those are the web pages, I think, that do the best job of that, or, like, that's their main job to do. And so those, I think, are, like, really for our people.
Okay, so I think the one thing that might be confusing, I think we can clarify it here. So this CalvaryKiosk.com, right? Mm-hmm. And so now we have CalvaryBFC.org, which we always had.
We've always had.
And it was a website that was designed about over 5 years ago, but now we have Calvary BFC, new website. Calvary Kiosk. So do we have two sites?
No, not exactly. So basically, in addition to, like, kind of the shifts I talked about earlier, in communications, we've also had this shift where we realized, you know, like, our website, CalvaryBFC.org, I like to think of is, you know, it definitely has, like, the most detailed information about what's going on at our church, and it also is probably the more external of the two, and it's the ones that new visitors and people are going to see.
Well, they say, I think we didn't say this, but it's the new front door of the church.
Yes. That's
a good way to look at it for everyone. Years ago, it was... the first interaction they had was when they came
like our actual front door.
Right. And now the new front door is websites and getting streaming and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So, like, today, people don't really go anywhere without checking it out online. Like, if you're going to go to...
Which is crazy for some of us.
Right. But, like, I mean, think about it. Like, if you were going to go to a restaurant you've never been to, a lot of times you'll look it up first online because, like, you're curious, like, what does it look like? Or, like, what are they offering on the menu? Or, like, if you're going to go to a city that you've never been before, you're probably going to look it up online to plan your time there. And so, you know, churches are the same way. When people go to a church for the first time, they are curious what it's like and what they can expect. And so they go online. And so CalvaryBFC.org is a place that's going to come up that helps people understand what that is, but it's also a central authority of information that talks about, you know, what we have going on here for our people.
And then the kiosk.
And then the kiosk, though, the kiosk is designed in a very specific way that it is where all next steps that you can take live. So whereas the website, I would say, has kind of more of like a large breadth of what's going on, the way the kiosk is designed is when you're ready to take a next step, that's where you go to do so. So, like, that's why from the pulpit, they're always saying go to calvarykiosk.com because it's designed for you to take whatever next step they're talking about.
Yeah, and quick examples, the Connect card to entering a prayer request, or when you're on there, you might be able to sign up for an event and something like that. And the kiosk, I think it's important to also mention that the reason it's called Calvary Kiosk is because it's not just a website.
No.
It's physically in our lobby now.
Yes, exactly. And that's like part of the whole strategy. So the idea was we wanted to have a central hub, one place where people could go, where they could find every single thing they needed in order to take a next step in their walk with Jesus at Calvary. And so, like, I guess an example I like to say to people is, like, for instance, like, if you, like, just wanted to peruse and just be like, oh, like, I'm just curious, like, what Bible studies do we have? And, like, what kinds of things are going on? And la, 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 la. You would probably go to the website because you would just kind of, like you said, it's, like, very conversational, and you would just kind of peruse around and kind of see some things, versus if you were like, okay, like, I really want to get connected in some way, and like I want to join a Bible study or something, you would probably go to the kiosk, because that's where it's like, hey, you can join a Connect group, you can join a Bible study. Not like that information doesn't exist on the website, but the kiosk sets it up in a way for somebody who's ready to take that action.
Yeah, they can take an actual step, click something, do something.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Very neat. Okay, so this is awesome. So is it done? Is everything done? Is this new site done?
No. It's not done. We have a lot of like really great plans and ambitions for it. And as we were kind of like coming down to getting closer and closer to Easter, we decided, you know what, like we've been wanting to do this for so long that we decided that we needed to have a stopping rule and just finish some good things and like get it out there, especially for Easter. But we have like a lot of stuff that we've kind of moved over to like iteration 2, and a lot of plans that we have that we've already been talking to ministries about that we're really excited about. One of them is like getting even like better pictures on there of like smiling people and like continuing to update that. So we're really excited about it that it's there now, but yeah, there's definitely more to come.
Well, I mean, big thank you to our communications team. Yay. And as you headed this up and worked with your Lori, I had no idea. It was cool to hear that you guys made a job description. So the creativity that our communications team has is amazing. So thank you for all your work. So what is next? So
for the comms team, like, we're so privileged. I mean, all of us are privileged to be, doing what we do and how we serve. And on the comms team, like, one way we think about that is sharing about what God is doing at our church, and like having a tool for kingdom impact like the website is awesome. We're excited about it, and we really want to continue to grow our team so that we can continue to do impactful things. And so one of the things that we really want to, an endeavor that we really want to jump into, but we need more people to be a part of, is curating stories of life change, of things that are happening at our church. You've probably noticed in the past, sometimes we do, testimonies or like, really cool things that the pastors may get wind of, and we have someone come in and we like videotape their story and we share it on a Sunday. And we want to be doing more things like that, because we just think there's so much power and so much just awesomeness in like hearing examples of what God is doing in our church.
Well, think about anytime you might go on a retreat or you spend time with someone at a meal, many times you might ask them, well, tell me your testimony of how you came to the Lord, or tell me something impactful in your life. Like, those are powerful and they move people.
Right, and like as a body, like we recognize that like sometimes in your own personal life, you may not be able to see what God is doing at that moment. And like, but God has put us in a community where God is always doing something, and to hear about it in someone else's life spurs you on, and you know, like, okay, like God is at work here, and like even if like I don't see what he's doing in my life, I see he's doing something in your life, and that encourages me that like God is real and moving and active.
So if somebody wants to says, hey, I would love to just film people and be able to be behind the camera and hear their stories, how do they actually take that step?
Oh, I mean, I think you would just email me at communications at calvarybfc.org, and we would talk about it and make it happen. But yes, we are, I guess the specific next step is we are looking for people with videotaping skills, also people who are really good at taking pictures would be awesome. And maybe even just people who like they don't do those technical things, but they just are really connected at church, and they just know a lot of these things that are going on, and they could just be telling us like, hey, like I heard so and so share this cool thing, like, and I encourage them to come, tell you their story. Like, we need people like that too. That's awesome. So that's kind of like for us, what's next. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I learned that I'm a bad picture taker because I can't be discreet. I just start smiling. I start smiling when I'm behind the camera, and I make a big scene, and then everybody knows I'm taking their picture. So I'm not the person. So what's next overall for our church? We said it already, and it's big. Easter's coming. Yes. So I said this past Sunday, and I want to say it on here, that as you're just praying about people in your life, I think as Christians, one thing we're always asking is we're intentional with our relationships. Yes.
so that means like we're thinking about who in our life has the Lord just kind of positioned that we have the opportunity to share the gospel. And sometimes that's intimidating. So when I say share the gospel, that's anywhere from you specifically doing it and being bold with your evangelism to simply inviting them to church, which I say simply, but it still can be stressful. But
yeah, you don't know how they're going to respond.
Right. But we got Easter coming up, and we have simple ways now. So you might say, well, I'm a little nervous about just verbally saying it to someone. Well, the neat thing is we have social media.
Yeah.
And as a church, again, we're very intentional. So you'll notice we have our Easter event all prepped that's written to help bring in our community. So you can share that link found on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and like just yesterday, I posted a link that, so like if, like Tim said, if there may be somebody in your life that you want to specifically invite, and you can point them to the website when you do that, or like just even sharing, what on our Facebook page that we are posting to your own channel on Facebook or Instagram, and saying like, hey, I'm coming to Easter, like, I would love for any of you all to join me. Like, that's still a great way to get the word out.
Absolutely. So just look for those ways as Easter comes. So it would be awesome. Let's fill the pews. So,
yeah.
And then lastly, just considering, let's keep looking for ways that we can grow together and be praying for how we can continue to connect with our community and helping, again, people see the gospel in the way we serve and the way we love through the 5K, through Betty Lou's, VBS, and beyond, the many things coming our way.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. So again, I just want to, Easter is here.
It's here.
Well, thanks for jumping on, everyone, and listening. Have a great week.
Bye.